people out there. Really, really happy and excited to be back at David Lloyd's for our podcast, Unspoken Words. Today's a very interesting one. We are with Michael Mixy, the man himself here. Very interesting character. And today we'll be talking a little bit about rapping, about spoken word, and also about the time that he spent with COVID in China. How did you start going into spoken word and rap? What made you go into that?
Okay, well, rap came first. I didn't really know it was rap though. I always knew I wanted to write lyrics.
Okay.
I started writing lyrics and just repeating them to people. And one day somebody said, that'd make some good hip hop. I said, what's hip hop? And I went looking at what hip hop was. And then I just started calling my writing rap, really. And then you fall into other parts of the culture and, you know, you see yourself improving. And it just became a really big part of me really early on in life. And I carried on doing it until I felt like I was good enough to be doing it, you know?
But bro, do you have to be clever to do this kind of stuff? Because it's a lot to remember, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, do you have to be clever? It's like, what do you want from your music, you know? I mean, friends of mine, some people I know, they want to listen to very complex rhymes, very technical stuff. But then some people just want party tunes or joke songs. And in those cases, I mean, you could argue you don't need to be so intelligent to write very simple, basic things. But then again, it's not easy either way.
That's what I was saying, because I saw one of your videos and you were having a rap battle with someone.
Yeah.
And it looked like you were on it, like you were in the element, you were smashing it.
Okay.
It was you and a teacher, which we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because that video went quite viral.
Well, not really. One of his did.
One of his did. Were you in it?
Did. No.
Okay.
No. But I worked with him. We did do a few battles, so I know the battles you're talking about.
Yeah, so I watched a bit of that, and I seen the way you were lyrically, you were like in your element, man. You were on it. Is that all scripted, or is that just off the cuff?
Yeah, in the battles you see online, the vast majority of it is written already.
Okay.
Like when I used to do it, God, we're talking like, I guess just maybe 8 years ago, the last time I had a battle on any kind of league. I had a battle in China, but that's not recorded. Yeah, normally you find out your opponent a while before you have to face off, and you get time to research them and, you know, try and pick your angles and craft your material and try and make it hit as hard as you can. There's always elements of freestyle, but yeah, these days it's mostly written, I think. Yeah.
Hang on a minute, you said you had a battle in China in Mandarin?
Yeah.
No way!
Yeah.
You had a battle in Mandarin?
Yeah. Well, it was...
Sick guy!
It was half an hour, because that was early on as well. That was like my second year in, like maybe my third year in China.
Okay.
And I'd been traveling as well. I'd literally, that day, I'd been traveling with a friend, and then I got stuck in Shanghai airport for like 16 hours, and I'd landed back in my city, and this guy just hit me up and said, yo, there's a hip hop night round the corner from your apartment, like, let's go through. So we did, and my Mandarin then was very bad. Now it's still not perfect, but then it was very low. And some guy on stage just started talking about battle, and my friend pushed me on stage, and I ended up in a freestyle clash with this Chinese guy. I did all right.
Was it good?
Well, I won, yeah.
Oh, smashed it, yes, selector.
Cheers, bro.
You won it, yeah?
Yeah, I won a skateboard deck with a naked lady on it. It's kind of cool.
Man comes from the UK, goes to China, learns Mandarin, and smashes a rap battle. Yes,
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Wicked. That's wicked.
I was hyped, don't get me wrong.
Oh, that's so good.
But like,
well done.
There's an element of like, how there might be an element of it that wasn't, maybe it wasn't me being a lot better than the guy. Maybe it was just a novelty to see a foreigner.
Nah, you were better than him. Nah.
I like that. Positive. All that. See
you
that positive.
Better than him.
I try and be humble. He's like, no.
You represented the UK and you smashed it. Yes. Well done.
I don't know.
Well done. That's really, really good.
Cheers, bro.
And right, we're talking about China and you went out there. What is it like for you, born and bred in England, British, to go into China? How was the culture? And also, what was it like? What we want to speak about is the time of COVID.
Okay.
The COVID time. What was it like for you in China?
It was pretty stressful. I know it was stressful for everyone, right? The bottom line is that everyone had a bad time. Very few people I know came out of the lockdown with anything more than they had before. I don't know, when it all kicked off, right, it was 2019, it was December of 2019. So I was at uni at the time, I was studying Mandarin out there. And, you know, we had a lot of friends from all over the world. We were all in the classes together, we'd all study together and hang out together. There was a good 30 or 40 of us from about 10 different countries, and it was great, it was amazing. And then the winter holiday came and everyone flew home. I left China to go and work in a few different countries, and then my friends in China started messaging me, talking about don't come back. We can't do anything. We're completely locked down. And that was never going to stop me because I had my life in China. I had my apartment, I had my studies, I had everything there. So it didn't stop me. I flew back into China just about a week before they closed the borders. Okay. And then nobody got into China for a long, long time after that without some serious quarantine. But yeah, and I flew back in at the beginning of quarantine. It was like something out of Resident Evil. You know, you get off the plane and there's the hazmat suits, the white suits, they call them Baymaxes in China. Okay. They call them like big white, but it translates as Baymax from the animation. And it was really freaky, man. And then across the city, this is a city of like 9 million people, and I'm riding the tram to the subway, and then I'm riding the subway like 20 stations from north to south, south to north. I didn't see any people, you know, we're talking massive trains and there's no people. And I get back to my community, the security don't want to let me in because they ask me why I'm here. I say, I live here. They say, no, you don't, we've never seen you. And I'm like, no, I've just been away. Okay. As soon as I said I've been away, they all step back. Oh. They're all like, oh, you've been outside the country, you might be a carrier. I had to give them loads of information. They wanted all my flight details, my flight numbers, where I've been in the last month. And then eventually they let me into my apartment. And it was like nothing anyone's ever seen before, right? I don't think anyone, you know, you had all these people in 2019 talking about, I got 20/20 vision, I know what's going to happen. None of you called that. No, not one of you called that. And I don't think anybody had any experience with anything like it either. I know a friend, my friend's boyfriend in China, apparently he lived through the previous pandemic, so it was familiar to him. Was it bird flu or was it SARS or something? I can't remember. I don't know, but it was something that hit China like a long time ago. So he had lived through that, but no one else I knew had any experience with the lockdowns. And it was rough, man, for everyone, though. That's the only thing that I kind of wake myself up with. I'm like, it was really bad. I'm like, but it was for everyone. We all struggled, right?
But there's a massive difference between how we were dealt in the UK and how you were dealt in China.
I hear that, yeah. I mean, obviously, I missed the whole thing. Like, I came back to England right at the end of 2022. And before that, the last time I was in England was like 2018.
And would they randomly just stop you in the streets and do COVID testing out on you?
What, for the COVID testing out there? Nah, it was, to be honest, the first year was all right. It wasn't all right, it was horrible. We got, you know, we couldn't have classes in person, we had to go online.
You were locked in, like a proper lockdown?
Not this time. I was later on, but the first time it was just, they only left one gate to my community open. So there's only one way in and out of the complex. You had to, you know, so they wanted to check your temperature. You have to wear your face mask, that kind of stuff. And the first time around wasn't bad, but it was just a big shock. And we moved to online lessons and all my friends got trapped outside. So you go from having a really good social circle, enjoying your classes and learning, and then you go away and come back and it's like, oh, now all your friends are in different parts of the world and you're on your own in an apartment trying to learn Chinese on your phone. And it's rough, yeah, but we got through it, you know? It all worked out. I got through it at the end. But the next lockdowns were worse because I think we had one semester of being locked down, then we went back to classrooms, I graduated, then I moved to a different part of the city and took another job. And then last year they started locking down again constantly. That's the thing, it was a constant, you never know what's going to happen. You can wake up in the morning, start going to work and get a message on your phone saying the school's closed for a week. Okay. And then that week can turn into months. And in those months, you're normally sat at home. Sometimes you're trapped inside your community and you literally can't leave the complex. They're built like prisons. And
you don't get paid?
Nah. You get, you get nothing. You kind of, well, I got nothing. I can't say that. Some people got looked after really well, but in my position, I didn't. I taught online classes some of the time, because I went through the lockdowns as a student and then as a teacher.
Okay.
So I've learned and taught in that situation. And yeah, you can still work, but the work is more stressful. You're online, and teaching young children online is a tough gig, yeah. And you get a fraction of your pay. Still, you can survive.
Okay.
You know, the cost of living is cheap.
What was like for you? What was the most hardest thing for you during that period of COVID? What was the hardest thing for you in China? What did you find like really difficult?
The last year was really hard. Like, we thought the pandemic was over. You know, we got hit with the pandemic, and then everyone kind of went about their business as normal. And none of us could go home. None of the expats could leave China because you wouldn't get back in unless you wanted to quarantine for months or something like. It was ridiculous at the time, probably about a month quarantine. But yeah, it almost went back to normal. And yeah, we couldn't leave the country, but we could travel in China, and China's a massive country. There's lots of beautiful things to see and places to go. But then you could also get locked down in China if you leave the province and there's a case in the city where you go to, then you might get stuck in that hotel for a month.
Wow.
Yeah, you never know. So it's very uncertain. You can't really plan anything. You feel very powerless to do anything. Like I did anyway. I can only speak for myself and the people who told me they have the same feelings about it. But yeah, you feel kind of, the hardest thing I think was the constant testing last year, because it became, we had a code on our phone. So anywhere you want to go, you have to scan a code and show that you've tested and you're clean in the last 48 hours.
Okay.
But this means if you want the green code all the time, you kind of have to test every day.
Wow.
So they put boxes on street corners. And these boxes would just have two people sitting in them. One would scan your code, and then the other one would swab your throat. And then within about, sometimes a day, sometimes 2 days, you'd get a message saying you're negative or positive. And then you could go into supermarkets and ride the public transport and go to restaurants and do whatever you want to do and get into your community. You can even get trapped out of your community if you don't get tested. It's crazy. But that was stressful because even, you know, sometimes you just need a day to yourself.
Of course.
But like, when that's going on, it's like every day you wake up, you can't relax because you know at some point I'm going to have to go outside and I'm going to have to stand in a queue, maybe for 20 minutes, maybe for 2 hours. I don't know, but that's going to be a part of my day every day for the last year. I did like 200 acid tests last year.
How many?
200.
200?
200, yeah. I kept because they would give you cards sometimes. They'd give you a card with your number, and then they'd give you cards that they would stamp, and I kept them, and I would tally everything. And just before I left China, I counted up, and I was on like just shy of 200. I was on like 190.
Mad.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. I bet you don't miss that.
No, I don't.
You don't miss that.
But I got out when I left, and I didn't fly straight home because it was so hard to fly from China to England. The flights were there, but the tickets were crazy expensive, and the best you could do is the plane would stop in 3 places, and it would take you 48 hours to get home, and most of that time is you just waiting in airports. So I treated myself to a holiday, and I traveled back through some of Southeast Asia. And as soon as I left China just in time, my community got locked down on the day I left. If I'd stayed in my apartment for like half an hour, I probably would have missed my flights and got trapped in China. Then my visa would have expired and I would have been in a whole world of shit. But yeah, sorry, I'm going on a tangent, man.
No, it's good, it's good. It's so interesting.
I haven't thought about this stuff for a while.
No, it's so interesting because it's far more different than what we had, our COVID.
Yeah.
Because obviously to the viewers, we have a nurse who works at the hospital here with us today. And obviously she saw it firsthand of how people were dealt with. And it's very interesting in how things are so different and how you experience it as a British guy.
Yeah.
And when you got out there as a British guy, did you find it hard because you're a foreigner in another country? And
Through COVID, I was almost used to it, but you lose a lot of independence when you go out there. I mean, even when you learn the language and you kind of understand the culture, there's still, there's a lot of things that are a real struggle to do. For example, I mean, if I get sick in England, I don't like going to the hospital. Like, I get sick in China, I have to go to the hospital on my own and try and understand the Mandarin to make sure that whatever the doctor's told me is not going to kill me, and I can, follow his instructions for medicine and that. It's worrying, it's stressful. But
you speak fluent, don't you?
I'm all right, like I said, I'm not as good as Chinese people, but I think I'm all right for a foreigner, you know.
Because you, if I'm not wrong, you are the only guy that got the degree in that university, correct?
Yeah, from that university.
Congratulations,
yeah.
man.
Thank
Well
you, bro.
done.
Thank
Boom.
you. Yeah,
Well
apparently
done.
so. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Well done. No, nice, nice.
It was a ball ache, mate.
Yeah, but, yeah, but come on,
Ball
man.
ache,
That's a massive achievement, dude.
Yeah, it was.
Because you rocked up on your own, right? You went on your own.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
learned the language. You rocked up at the university.
Yeah.
You're the only guy that's actually got the degree as a foreigner in that university.
No, from England, yeah.
From England,
I'm
yeah.
the only. I was the first British guy to graduate at that uni.
That's
yeah.
a big achievement. Well done.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. It's yeah, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's done.
Are you happy that you had that experience?
I am, like, it's, but I think only because of the experience itself. Like, I don't know what I really gained there. I mean, it's a massive, massive cliche, you know, go to Asia and find yourself and all that.
Okay.
I learned a lot. You know, I've definitely learned a lot from being away, but you know what? I've also, 7 years, I don't know if what I've learned is due to my circumstance or just due to me getting older and changing the way I think. It could be anything, really.
And when you got back after 7 years, what do you think? I'm home, and like, how'd you feel?
It was the reverse, man. Like, the funny thing is, it felt kind of the same as when I left England.
Okay.
You know, like, I remember leaving England and having a few friends have a little party and that. And I remember when I was leaving, and I was like terrified and scared, and everyone else had kind of accepted it, and it was just friendly, and it was just a very calm goodbye. And I realized it was like, just because it's a big thing to me, it doesn't affect all these people. Like, tomorrow for me, everything's different. And the only thing that's different with everyone else is that I'm not about. But then they have the routine, they have that. So I threw myself into a world of mystery. I didn't know what it was going to be. And, and it was all right. But then when it came time to leave China, it was like that had been my home for so long. I remember like saying goodbye to my friend at the airport and like bawling my eyes out, just the idea of not being able to see her every week, the idea of, the whole remembering what it was like when I first landed there and could not say a word and just struggled to do even the most simplest of tasks. And then 7 years down the line, I'm having like full-on conversations with taxi drivers about anything you like, That. But it's because it feels so far away. Like when I first got there, my VPN went down. Because you need a VPN to access Google from China, and all the social medias that people in England and other countries have been using for the last 7 years. Like, I mean, when I was in England, Instagram wasn't a thing, really. It was there, but it wasn't popping like it is now. And I couldn't use any of that. So I've just been using the Chinese social media. I've come back and it's all, I don't understand anything. I feel like, a granddad who's been given a smartphone and you just don't know what to do with anything. You're kind of lost amongst it, but
nice.
Sorry, man. I keep going on tangents. I'm just.
No, it's good. It's good. It's interesting because it's your life. It's your story, which we don't know about. We've never been to China. I don't think none of us have. And your experience is just kind of like, we can sit back and think, you know what? Even though we did struggle here, because it's hard for everybody to be locked up and know all of that, especially when somebody dies. Yeah. The whole thing changes. But you were in a completely different world, dude.
Yeah.
Like in a completely different world.
Do you know what? I just remembered when I hadn't been back, when the lockdown had just started and I'd come back to my community and we couldn't do anything. There was a girl who lived in my community and me and her were kind of dating. And I remember one day I went to see her and she pulled up a video on her phone on one of the Chinese, like a YouTube kind of site, but in China. And she showed me this video of Boris Johnson. And I didn't know anything going on in England this time because my VPN had been down and I couldn't go anywhere to see anyone or use the internet. So the lockdown had happened and I hadn't spoken to anyone in England for quite a long time. By the time I finally got on social media, people thought I was dead. I had messages from friends being like, I've seen China on the news, please reply to me and all this. And so, no, I'm good, I just couldn't contact you. And this friend of mine who lived near me showed me this Boris Johnson video. And she just held it. It's like, it's England's Prime Minister. And she showed me, and it was just Boris Johnson talking about, lots of you are going to die. Lots of you are going to die. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that info? Like, I'm on the other side of the world. And what's happening to everyone I know back home now? What's going on there? A lot happened,
Did it scare you? Were you worried about your family and stuff?
I was a bit, yeah. Do you know what? I assumed everything was going to be okay because you kind of do more often than not. If we're fortunate, then things generally have a way of working out, right? But it was more that I couldn't see anything and I couldn't speak to anyone. I didn't know, and I think the lockdown in China was actually getting a bit better by the time England first went in. Actually, I'm not too sure though on the dates, but yeah, it was a lot. All right, bruv. You're that guy. You're that guy.
Yeah.
That guy from the telly, innit?
Just to let everybody know, we're in the middle of the podcast, and the only time this ever happened, Nathan walks through the doors. He's a celebrity, you know, and knows it as well. He's loving it.
I have to inflate his ego
He's
now.
loving it, and he just walked into the room. So, round of applause for Nathan.
Give him
Big
some
love.
love. Give him some
Celebrity
love.
in the house.
I'll troll you in private, but in public, in front of Kate, he's a diamond. He's a diamond.
Lovely, mate.
I'll troll you later, bro.
And also, like, going back into your rap world, could you, in any way or form, do you just, off the cuff, can you do stuff?
I used to be able to. I don't know. It's one of those things. I used to be pretty good at it, but it's so random. You know, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's terrible. I haven't even tried to freestyle for...
So if we were to ask you to freestyle a little bit now, could you do it?
You can cut it if it goes wrong, right?
All right, done. Go on, try and give us a little
Give me
bit.
some words.
Fraser, give us some words. Brown bear, we'll give you some words.
Brown bear.
Brown bear and
Okay.
unspoken.
Unspoken.
Or you can do unspoken or whatever.
Unspoken. Brown bear's a what? A coffee cup. A coffee cup. Okay. Hang on. Well, it's terrible. I haven't freestyled for so damn long. Let me just see if I can.
Have a little think about it, and let's do this.
All right, just let me try and bust it. See if I can turn off my mind and not drop my hat and keep it all in line and match up the words you've given me to rhyme and see if I can kick it out there. And I doubt oh my God, that's bollocks. I tried to hold it up. I was like, out there, doubt the what the fuck is that? Right, I don't want to go too out there. Sitting in a cafe, drinking up some brown bear, doing what I do, and I don't want to shout here because there's a lot of people chilling out on the chairs, and I don't want to disturb them. They're watching the game, and they don't want to hear what I'm saying, so I'll just kick back and try to keep flowing. And this is a real oxymoron, speaking on unspoken.
Yes, selector.
right?
Yes,
Thank you,
selector.
bro. Thank
Yes,
you.
my G.
You can cut that if you
Yeah,
like. You're
bro.
welcome to cut
You're
that.
good, man.
Damn. It's a cool skill to have that I really wish I'd kept up with my freestyle.
What would like, you know that, but just tell me, you know when you, obviously Nathan showed me a video watching it, what is it like? What's the buzz like when you're in it, like when you're actually on it? Is it like, how do you like explain that feeling?
It's kind of like a drug, I guess.
Have you ever lost?
Yeah,
Have you?
I've lost, yeah. I've lost, but I mean, the only loss on record is like to probably the UK's greatest battle rapper ever.
Sick.
So that's not bad. But then I didn't battle a lot compared to many, you know? I've probably only got about 10 battles online from 2009 to 2014 or something. And there's a lot of, actually UK battle rap is growing again now.
Okay.
It's doing really well, like Premier Battles is doing really well. There's a lot of very good rappers who are regularly fighting it out to prove themselves. It's entertaining, man, very entertaining. But it's a great feeling. You should have a go, bro.
Oh, me?
You know, yeah.
Man, I can't remember a line and you want to go battle.
You'll be all right, bro. They got AI these days. You just get it to write you a verse,
Yeah.
you spit some bars.
Yeah,
You'll be
man.
all right.
That's something are you going to go back into battling again?
I don't know. Do you know what? A part of me would really love to. I keep watching it lately. I keep rewatching the battlers I used to follow,
Okay.
the guys I like, and the new guys that I like. And I think I like the idea of it more than the reality of it.
Okay.
You know, because I think if I reach out to one of the guys and try and get a battle, and they give me an opponent, then it's like, from that moment, my mind is obsessed with how can I beat
Okay.
this guy? What can
Yeah.
I say about this guy? And it's a lot of work for. You can't guarantee a positive reward, which I guess you can't with anything, but I'd like to, but I'm not making any quick moves to do it.
So with you yourself, what are you doing with yourself now?
Now I started a project this year, me and my pal, G, Juxta. We've been releasing one song a week since the first week in 2023. I actually started that in China as well.
You sing.
Rapping.
Okay, just rapping, yeah?
Yeah. So I was doing it last year through the lockdown to keep sane. And I was just, every week I was writing, recording and uploading one brand new song. And it lasted for about 6 months last year in China. And then I came back to England and I was like, I need to start creating again. So we started again. So now we are 17 weeks in. So that's 17 new songs. That's basically my main focus right now.
And where, if anybody wants to see your music, where do they go?
You can, well, the weekly drops are on YouTube. Like
yeah.
every Wednesday I drop a vlog, every Saturday I drop a new original song. I say me, it's me and Juxta. It's a collaborative project, me and him. So YouTube there, Mixy Rick, YouTube, and we're on all the streaming platforms as well. Every 3 months we upload a chunk of 13 songs, and they go all over the, Apple, Spotify, all the streaming platforms that people use. So
fantastic.
I'm out there. Search my name. Give me a look. I would. How do I beg for support without looking desperate?
What is your Insta?
My Insta is. What's my Insta, bruv?
Do you know your Facebook?
Mixy Rick. It's Mixy Rick 86. MIXYRIC 86, and I think that's the same as the YouTube.
Yeah. Just a quick little vision of you in the next 5 years. What's going on with you? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Wow, I have no idea.
You got a vision?
I wish I did. I'm very much. I think I'm still kind of de-stressing after the China trip, and now I've landed. I'm still trying to gather my thoughts and work out what the hell I'm going to do with my life. So I don't know. I mean, at the moment, I'm really enjoying making the music and putting the music out. That's kind of keeping me sane. That's keeping my sanity, which is why I create in the first place. But I do need to. I want to give myself the year, and if at the end of the year I feel like everything's falling apart and I'm losing myself, then maybe I'll jump to another country and do some more traveling or go and see some. At the same time, I'm getting old out here, and I think I need to look at
what can people expect from your music? What is your message? Or is it all different?
Yeah, it's really hard to narrow down. You can.
Go on.
There's a few songs about girls who sleep with.
Bellend. You bellend. A few recent songs.
Cut that bit right now.
There are.
Cut it. Nathan's being naughty, all right?
Blue Velvet, yeah. Mohammed, look, he knows my 2010 mixtapes, bro.
He knows.
He is right, technically. But he is basing this on music for the last 20 years. If you want to look at the more recent stuff, then there's actually very few songs about girls I sleep with. And there's very few girls to sleep with, actually. Fucking hell, let's not get too personal, eh?
Nathan just dropped him in it. Cut that bit.
You did.
Okay, cut it
sorry,
right now.
I deserve it. This is how we work. I'll mug you off, you'll mug me off, and and then one day one of us will shoot the other one, and it'll all be done.
It's nice. I just love the network as well, because with Unspoken, obviously Nathan's a very good pal of mine. He's a good pal of yours.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this link. You're a very interesting character. So out of this podcast, what we've learned is the two different sides of how we in the UK dealt with COVID and how you dealt with COVID in China, which is two different kind of worlds. Whilst we're talking about COVID, I would like to reach out to everybody who has lost somebody in COVID. May Allah give you the best place in heaven. With anybody that's grieving and in a dark place, always remember that somebody else out there is going through a dark time. You're not alone. COVID was by far one of the most horrific times of our lives that we went through, not only for Mixy, but for me, with the loss of my brother, and with many losses as well. But let's get stronger as a colourful family. Let's unite and let's make your problem our problem, so it becomes one. God bless you, Mixy. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, bro,
for coming and doing this thing. Also, just one announcement that I would like to make: the Unspoken Wall will be up by Nathan very soon. Something that's gonna be epic. It's gonna blow up. Can I use the word blow up? Yeah.
Not in an airport.
It's gonna blow. Yeah, it's gonna blow. It's gonna be epic. So watch this space for the Unspoken Wall. It's gonna be amazing.